Hi everybody and welcome back to Scary Nightmare. Today I've brought you one of the weirdest, most creepy, real horror stories. I've literally took time to dig this story and I've read it more than once. Just trying to feel it completely so I can bring it to life to you guys. So you can get to hear it, enjoy it, get creeped as well, and wonder what the heck is going on. And just quickly before we begin, make sure to tell me where you're watching from and what time is it for you. In today's video, I have brought some livestock images to kind of like help bring in the story more to life. Hopefully you guys will enjoy, the auditory part and the vision part as well all at once. And here we go. All right, 1, 2, 3, action. 5 years ago, the 18th of June, 2:47 a.m. I was watching a scary movie in the bed at that time, and a jump scare happened. It scared the hell out of me. But a second later, the TV started glitching and an alert went off. I thought it was an Amber Alert at first, but it wasn't. The screen was a really dark red, almost like blood. It was white lettering that said shit like, "Go outside, don't be afraid." Then it would switch to reverse, get the final piece, and my personal favorite, "Open your doors, let us all come in, we're healing." I swear, I heard sobbing behind the sounds of rap sirens. The TV went blank. I realized I was frozen and couldn't move. No matter how hard I tried, I glanced back at the TV, only to see my name in blood letters, taking up all the TV. Alright, this has to be some fucking prank my brother did. He knows how to connect his phone to my TV with Bluetooth. It has to be that. To be honest, I have no idea. Then I was like, stop messing with me. I'm literally just trying to watch a movie. I was literally yelling saying all of this, and no answer was there. I tried to squirm around and leave my bed, but I wouldn't budge. Like I was being controlled. I started to panic, but then I heard my name. The TV said my freaking name. It didn't sound like my brother, or mom or dad. It literally sounded like nothing I've ever heard before. If an animal could speak and wail with a high-pitched scream at the same time, it would be that. I literally had enough. Then I quietly said, "Who are you?" Then all of a sudden the TV started replying in a weird layer of voice, sounding breathless. "Harper, and that's my name if you need to know." Then I was like, how the heck did it know me? Did it know me? Or no, I have no idea. Then I stopped asking myself questions when the alert buzzing got louder and louder until it sounded like a dog whistle, but I was being affected by it. I wanted to cover my ears, but I couldn't. Just when I thought my ears were going to explode from the unbearable pitch, the unknown force paralyzing me was finally released. I quickly turned off the TV and went to go look out my window. I just had this urge to go look, like a trance. It was pitch black. I couldn't see anything, like a starless space. The streetlights are usually on at this time. Then I thought to myself. I stared outside for a while, looking for any source of light, and none was found. I couldn't even see the moon. I jumped back when sirens came screaming through the neighborhood, waking my family up. I'm sure it woke the whole damn neighborhood up as well. I couldn't see any police cars or ambulances nearby at that time. I didn't even see any light. It sounded like it was coming from everywhere. Outside, my house, me, and also my mind. And it didn't sound normal at all. You know those videos on YouTube that make the audio all creepy and deep and glitchy, distorted and all that? That's what it exactly sounded like. But it was much more surreal though. That haunting sound will probably never leave my brain for as long as I live. I heard screeching in the distance that didn't sound human either, like the alert on the TV. It was as loud as the sirens, but I only heard it for 2 seconds. It reminded me of those skinwalker stories, all the screeching stuff. Maybe it was the tornado warning practice, but no, those only happen on Wednesdays, I think. Tell me if I'm wrong, please. As the sirens went off, the lamp lights were back on again, and the sky was clear. The moon shone again, and I could see the stars. It was no longer pitch black. The cloud of darkness was finally gone. The dead silence was eerie. No crickets or crunching of branches, and my street was right in the middle of a forest. It was like everything was dead. Then as the darkness cleared, I realized every house's door was open. I winced my eye back at my faint view front door, flinching when I saw it open. I raced downstairs, turning all the lights on and slammed it shut. I locked it and made sure every single window and door were too. But how did it get open? I was going back upstairs when I saw my dad on the floor, with his arms and legs strewn on the floor like he was making a snow angel. I was like, "Dad!" I ran over to him and pulled at his arm. Then he muttered as I tried to get him off the floor. Then I was like, "Did you open the door, Dad?" He said, "I don't even remember getting on the floor. What is that noise?" And those were his words. Then I said to my dad, "It's going around the neighborhood. Everyone's door is open too. Look." I stopped in my tracks while pointing to the window near the front door, as everyone was staring blankly at my house, and me as well. If anything, just standing there, my body went cold, and the hairs on my neck literally stood up, and that's how heavy this goosebump was. I was like, "What is wrong?" And my dad was like, "What the hell is that?" My dad immediately left to get my mom and my brother. I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, only in movies, right? On the comedic side, it sort of looked like a low budget. I was thinking about it. My dad called the cops, and no answer was there. I tried every phone in the house, and still we didn't get any answers at all. And after a while, the sirens stopped, but I could still faintly hear the same distorted deep sound ringing in my ears. Then I was like, "Damn it," I yelled, slamming the useless smartphone on the table. I felt so helpless and frustrated. I just wanted to go to my bed. And as I'm thinking about all of this, my family covered up all the windows as we all slept on the couch together, my dad having his shotgun by his side. The next morning, everyone was gone. I looked around in a hurry, only to see them in the kitchen, having breakfast, happily as can be. I immediately asked them all, "Is everything okay?" And my only response was from my mom, who replied with, "Do you want some pancakes, sweetie? Or maybe some eggs? You know, you need some protein, right?" "Oh, you know what? Whatever. It's summer, you can have both." "You look so out of it, honey. Just sit down, sit down." She said this in a cheerful yet empty, blank, and emotionless voice. It didn't even sound like her. Her hair was done all nicely. She had makeup on with bright cherry red lipstick, and she was in a pink dress. My mom hates pink. So in my mind, I was like, what is wrong with Mom, right? And as I'm looking at all of this, I stood there in shock, thinking that my mother has never spoke to me like that before. She usually greets me for a second and puts down cereal. It didn't take me long to realize my entire family was dressed like a preppy rich family at a country club or some shit. Even my brother, a boy of no respect for suits and ties or fancy clothing in general, he was dressed in a light plaid button shirt. He would never wear this, you know. I mean, I know him very well. I turned to my dad, and he was in a polo shirt. I was like, a polo shirt? You know, my dad never wears that either. And I shakily asked again, "Guys, is everything all right?" And as I'm asking them this question, stated in a stern tone, my mom was like, "I'm fine." "We have no idea what you mean. Your mother's fine. Your brother's fine. Hopefully you are too. Now sit down, sweetie, just sit down, please." I sat down more confused than ever, and I ate, you know. I just looked down and was astonished at the fact that I switched from a hoodie and a sweatpants to a pastel blue corduroy skirt and a tucked in white and a loose off-the-shoulder blouse. I immediately knew for a fact that I don't own these clothes. I figured they were my mom's. A million more thoughts rushed through my head, as there was no explanation for this. I swore I was in my comfy clothes just a second ago. How could I brush this off? I wanted to ask more questions, but I was too afraid. For some reason, not wanting to anger my so-called dad again. It was the best breakfast I've ever had, and that is just to be honest. Until now, that was the only part of the day I really enjoyed. Till I almost took another bite out of my pancake, realizing that it wasn't nothing but a rotten-hearted piece of strange-looking meat covered with maggots. I immediately dropped it, and I dropped my silverware and staggered out of my seat, covering my mouth so I can prevent myself from vomiting from the stench. I looked around, and everything was gray. All the colors were gone. No more fancy table dinners with laced cloth. All of a sudden, everything changed. As the food was rotten, I gagged and almost ran into the bathroom when my mom randomly appeared in front of me and grabbed my arm tightly. She was like, "Where you going, honey bunch? Don't you want to finish your breakfast?" She grinned and looked back at the table. So did I, seeing my dad and brother staring at me blankly. Then as I'm gazing at all of this, her grip tightened, almost cutting off the circulation of my arm, still grinning at me while her eyes widened. I immediately responded to her, "I'm so full, Mom. I just want to go lay down. Please. Is that okay with you?" I literally said all of this as I'm trying to act all preppy, even though I was trembling like I had Parkinson's disease. And as I'm saying all of this looking at her, her eyes started twitching for about 5 seconds before she decided to release me. And as she's releasing me, she's like, "Sure, my little peach pie. Anything for you, my dear." She booped my nose with her finger and went back to the table. I blinked again and the color was back. The food was fine. The porcelain plates, the fancy lace tablecloth, the light yellow roses in a vase. Everything was back again. Then I walked to my room, not being able to recognize anything at all. My home looked like a mansion. This wasn't my home. And those people downstairs were not my family. I can feel that in my heart. I'm sure of it. I finally stumbled to my room, getting lost in the maze of halls. I looked out of my window, and it was unusually bright outside. The clouds looked fake, too perfect to be real. They weren't moving either. And the grass was an unreal shade of green with yellow, white flowers sprouted all around the street. And as I'm looking through the window, all the houses seemed the same too. The same design, shape, but different pastel colors. I cried for about 20 minutes, and then I grabbed my phone, texting my next door neighbor, Annie. I don't know her, but maybe the same thing's happening to her. Anyway, so the conversation went like this. I was like, "Annie, hey, it's Harper. Do you remember what happened last night?" She's like, "Harper, can you come to my house? Something really strange is going on. I'm terrified and scared." I was like, "Me too, Annie, but I can't leave. My parents and brother are..." And then I just went silent for a few moments. And as I'm texting her on my phone, I looked at the window and I saw Annie staring at me, waving and smiling out of the window. I mean, sometimes we look at each other through the window, but we never say hi, right? So I immediately texted her saying, "Annie, why are you smiling at me like that?" She said, "What the hell do you mean?" I said, "Through your window. Annie, I can see you." And no answer for about 5 minutes. "Harper, I'm not doing that. That's not me. No one's at my window, but I can see you waving and smiling at me as well. What the freak is going on? What is happening, Harper? Why is everything the same?" I said, "I don't know, Annie. I have no idea." Thinking about it, it couldn't have been Annie. I mean, the smiling Annie didn't even have her phone in her hand. Then Annie texted me saying, "Do you think we're not in the same place?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "Every single person in the neighborhood is in their own little fucked up fancy world. I mean, Harper, I literally tried leaving. I said I was going for a bike ride. I biked to the exit of the neighborhood and there's gates. I asked the nearest house for the code and they didn't even answer. You just fucking smiled at me and slammed the door in my face. Something tells me we shouldn't try to escape, Harper. I feel like people are watching me." I said, "What? We don't have gates." She said, "I guess. I don't want to believe it either." And then I was like, "What is there to believe?" She said, "I gotta go. My sister just called me to play some corky." She doesn't even know how to do that. I don't either. We don't even have corky set. I said, "Just act like them, Annie, and everything will be fine." And then that was the end of our conversation, as she didn't answer me anymore after it. Hopefully she's okay. Then I heard my brother coming up the stairs. To be continued.